My name's Kate,
I'm Shelby.
and we have Mel behind the camera.
Hi guys.
We are some of the Jaguar trainers here at Elmwood Park Zoo, along as keepers. And today we're going to do some Jaguar training sessions for you guys to show you how our animals make our lives easier for vet procedures or just general maintenance to make sure they're feeling healthy. So we have Zian here. Zian is our male Jaguar. He is 7 years old. He's also the father of Luna, our female Jaguar, who you may have seen on exhibit before. And he is actually a grandfather now because his son Diego is at Memphis Zoo and he just had 2 cubs of his own. So Shelby is one of Zian's primary trainers, along with Mel, who is operating the camera.
That's me.
And she's going to walk us through some of the behaviors that Zian knows so we can show you guys how we help train them.
Target.
So usually our training starts with targeting, and that's when the animal kind of nose boops with his nose to a target stick. And this is a directional tool. So this can help us tell the animal, hey, we'd like you over here, we'd like you to stand up. And that's usually the basis for our training for these guys. And you'll notice if you look in the training tower, the door is totally open, so he does not have to participate if he doesn't want to. But generally, they're very food motivated and they want to hang out with us. Shelby just had Zian stand up, which is great because we can see his belly to make sure he didn't scratch himself in any way, check his bottom. And we are also able to touch his front pads, and that helps us because in the wintertime, Jaguars get dry and cracked pads, kind of like we can get dry and cracked hands. So by allowing us to touch his pads, we're able to put ointment on them if necessary. Right now, Shelby's asking for his hip, and you'll notice he just pushed it into the fence. Now that behavior is very important for us because we are able to give him vaccines totally through the fence without any kind of darting or anything negative. So it's totally positive, and he gets to do it on his own accord, and he gets to be rewarded with food. So if he didn't want to, he could just leave, but he has been trained at this point to take all vaccines totally voluntarily. And you'll notice that Shelby is also asking for his tail. And when she asks for his tail, we're actually able to get blood through one of the veins in his tails. In his tails, not multiple tails. Recently, Zian has learned an open mouth behavior as well. So you'll see he's kind of a little bit, as you throw the food at him.
Do one more.
Do one more so we could get close up there. Good boy. So this is one of his newest behaviors, and this allows us to check out his teeth and his gums, make sure everything in his mouth is going well. This is one of our favorite behaviors for Zian, and we're asking him to lay down and present his back feet because we get to touch the front ones, we want to touch the back ones as well. So this is his lie down with his paws up.
Okay, get out of there. You gonna roll?
And he's going to be cute and roll over for you.
Easy. Oh, can you kind of straighten him up? Come on right now? No? Okay, let's go up.
You'll notice that Shelby is using a whistle, so kind of like clicker training with dogs, we use a whistle as a bridge, and that's kind of because we run out of hands when it comes to using a target stick, using tongs to feed them. Obviously, we're not going to hand feed them because we wouldn't have any fingers. They don't know the difference between fingers and food, so we'll just make it easy for them and use tongs so they don't make that mistake. And the bridge, the whistle bridge, helps him know, hey, you did a great job, food is coming.
Is there anything else you want to run through?
I think we pretty much did all of his behaviors. Later you're going to see Inca do some of her behaviors, which are all very similar. And I guess we could talk a little bit about how cool Jaguars are. When you saw him stand up, can you have him stand up one more time? You'll notice that he's really light on the belly, so that's called counter shading camouflage. So if he were sitting up in a tree in the wild, his white belly would look like the light sky. And if he was down on the ground, you'll see that he's nice and orange and dark in the top with some spots. Imagine being in the rainforest and looking at the leaf litter. He would perfectly blend in, and oftentimes they sneak up on us here too, especially Inca. These guys are actually also really fascinating because they have the strongest jaw power of all the big cats. So even though they're the 3rd largest, their teeth can easily crack bone and skulls. So sometimes in areas where jaguars overlap with cougars, like in Central and South America, they can actually tell the difference between what killed an animal based on how that animal was killed. If there are punctures to the skull, it was most likely a jaguar. If it was asphyxiated, it was most likely a cougar. So you'll see a little bit more of those teeth when Inca opens her mouth, but you saw a little bit with Zian too. He's getting really good at it. They have very, very large canines, and it makes them very dangerous. So we do not ever go in with them because we like being here. So in a little bit, you'll see Inca training, and we'll go over some of her behaviors as well.
Thanks. Hey guys, welcome back to our training with the Jaguars. I'm Mel. I was behind the camera for Zian, but I'm here with Kate.
Hi.
Inca, our mama Jaguar here, and we've got Shelby behind the camera this time.
Hi.
So we're going to run through some of the behaviors that Inca does here. You're going to see some of them are the same that Zian does. Some she does the same way, but backwards. And she does a couple different things. So again, we're doing some targets. I like to tell people target is one of the easiest things to shape for our animals because a cat naturally wants to smell stuff. So when you put that right up against the fence, they accidentally touch it with their nose, and then they're like, oh, I got a snack for that. So they keep trying it. And once you have them where they'll touch the target, you saw her asking for an up. If you want them to stand up but they don't know how, you just put the target way up high. Once they know how to stand up for a target, they know how to stand up, and you can train them to do that, to look at things like their bellies, like we talked about with Zian. So what does Inca want to do next?
Let's see, do you want to show your teeth?
Okay.
Okay.
So Inca does a really good open mouth. You saw Zian's was just a little open mouth because he's still learning. This is one of the things that Inca loves to do, even when we don't ask for it. So we call that fishing, where sometimes we'll ask for a behavior or we're just waiting between behaviors, and she goes ahead and just opens her mouth or rolls around. It's like, one of these things is going to get me a treat. So one of the things we did talk about with Zian is how we have them stand up and we touch their paws for different things. So one of the things we're working on with Inca is to do that same behavior that Zian already does, where she'll lay down and put her back paws up against the fence. So you see how she's partway there, but we've never done this behavior in this space before with Inca. So she's like, can I lean against this log? Is that what you wanted? So since she's a little bit new, we're still in what we call the shaping portion of this behavior, which means we're trying to teach her all the steps so she'll do it reliably. Maybe I'll open my mouth? Maybe that's what you were hoping for. So this is some of the frustrations you go through as a trainer, because you need your animals to understand what you want, but they don't speak English the way we do. So this is one of those behaviors that Inca does backwards from Zian. So this is a hip presentation, and we brought out a blunted needle. So that is one of the ways that we train. It's not sharp, it doesn't hurt them, it's just so they understand different sensations that happen when we need to give them voluntary vaccines. I like to say when we do this voluntary husbandry work, it's a way that helps us, help them, help us, help them, which is a very confusing way to say it, but it's so they participate in everything that we do. So if we just need to look at parts of their body, we can put that target and see their right side, their left side, their bellies, their backs, all different positions, so we don't have to do anesthesia on the cats to do almost all of their veterinary work.
Would you like to do some of the
I would love to.
Okay.
So we talked about this a little bit with Zian, where in the winter, because these guys come from a very hot climate, sometimes the bottom of their pads crack. So we use a couple different things. The one we're really loving right now is the Organic Paw Soother. This is from the Natural Dog Company, which we've been using just on the pads of their feet. So we'll have her stand up, and we'll go ahead and put some of this on her pads. And when we do this, so we keep our fingers on this side of the fence. I'm gonna need that back, Inca. And we only touch the parts that we can safely touch, but this is a way that we can get a good look and see how she puts her pads out through here and keeps her claws to herself, which I like. And we can go ahead and feel around and make sure there aren't any cracks. Let's go ahead and try and get the other side. Rotate. So we can feel for any cracks, and if there are lesions or any problems down here, we can go ahead and let our vet team know, and then we can treat for those separately. But using these kinds of creams that we have really prevented a lot of cracks throughout the past couple winters here. That's a good girl. So hopefully she'll eventually get that paws up behavior really solid. What we do right now, we're not going to ask her to do in this space with Inca, is we actually have her climb the mesh inside. So she will actually climb up so we can reach her back paws. And it's obviously would be a little bit nicer for her if she could throw those back paws up and she would be in the same position for us to get all of those little Tootsie Pads for her. All right, do we have anything else to talk about, Inca?
I think that's all for training.
All right, I think that's all for Inca. If you stay tuned, I think we're going to try and do a little bit of training with Luna as well. We're not sure how well that's going to go, so if we don't see Luna, you go ahead and stay tuned with us. After this video, we're planning to do a live Q&A with the keepers and the trainers here to answer any of the questions you've had about our Jaguars or their training sessions.